Welcome to the Whimsical Workshop. It is that time again to do our block of the month for Block Mania. This is block 12, so let's get started. Yay! Alright, so we are on block 12. This is Wanderlust. This is our last block for the series. And a little later in the video, I'm going to flip through all 12 blocks. And then I'm going to be taking all of these blocks, putting them into a quilt, and we will have the pattern available in the next month or two. Hopefully in the next month, but maybe it'll take 2 months. So anyway, if you have made any of these blocks, I would love to hear from you below. Just tell me which ones you've made. I'd love to see a picture. Or if you're just interested in seeing what we're doing with this, stay tuned. We will definitely do a video on the block assembly. So this month I picked the following colors. This is going to be our background. Then we have the balloon is going to be those two colors. We've got the bunny rabbit, the mouse, the accents, and then his little jacket is going to be this mauve pink instead of the dark green. And then we have our customary black and white. I am going to be cutting all the pieces on my Cricut this month, so I'm going to get that started and then we'll be back for assembly. This one was big enough that we have 2 placement drawings for one thing. The first is the hot air balloon part itself, and then the second is the bunny and mouse in the little basket. So we're going to do the easy part first because I'm all for easy. What do you think? So again, using my Apple Fuse pressing mat, I've already removed all of the paper from my pieces. Now, this fabric has a weave, so it does have an up and down, left and right, but I think it looks cooler on bias, so I'm actually going to turn it on bias. And then we're going to position this guy in the middle. And each of these. So how this whole program started was Carolina Moore, at the beginning of the pandemic last year, wanted to have a way to reach out to our customers and people who were stuck at home and wanted to do something monthly. And she posted something in a Facebook group for designers, and I jumped on it and said, sure, I would love to do part of that. And then I think at one point, I think we've had up to 35 designers in a month, but you can opt in and out each month. You don't have to make a commitment to doing it all along. And let's see here, I'm just positioning, like, I noticed the placement drawings out here, but I want it to overlap, so I'm going to tuck it back in. So anyway, I reached out and said, sure, I want to do this. And I signed up for the first 3 months. The very first month, I did a sand bucket and shovel because I didn't know really if I was going to do it more than 1 month. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And it wasn't really until the second month we did it, which was for September. Well, it was the August block, but it was for back to school. And I created a block that I really started to figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do 12 months of blocks, because we could have just done 12 unique individual blocks. And I chose instead to create a theme of my own, which was coinciding with the Block Mania theme. The Block Mania theme is always there's always a theme, and there's always, except for 1 month, a color palette. So I couldn't really know what my colors were going to be month to month because I knew they were going to change. I also knew the theme was going to change. So I decided to kind of go back to my roots and embrace Fusible Applique. This is one of my favorite techniques in creating, mainly because this is mine. This is a unique drawing from me. Piecing is you're very creative on how to do different shapes and put them together, but a lot of people can come to the same conclusion for a design sometimes. Where with applique, it is truly 100% my personality. So I love that aspect as a designer, to always be giving you guys something unique and different that nobody else has. So we started with the first one, and it was Study Buddy, and at the end here I'm going to go through all of them so you can see them. But Study Buddy was a little owl stacked with books, and I realized that I really had fun. Now, it's a lot of work to do one a month, to create an applique once a month. At the same time, it was truly fun to do something totally creative just for me, not for a client, not for business, but just a free block to give to you guys. So anyway, I decided that for that month I was just going to do the applique. It was a one and done kind of a thing. I didn't think I was going to go back and do it every month. But then the next month I was like, you know, this is really fun. Let's create another applique. Not thinking about all of these going together into one quilt, but it was just a 1 month, let's try something fun, different. Okay, next month, oh, let's keep that path going. And then the next thing I knew, I was building towards where we are now, which is 12 months of character blocks that are just super cute, all go together, and will work well in one quilt. All right, so we got our little basket done. Now we're gonna do the bunny and mouse. Now this one has some really tiny pieces in here, and I know I showed you in another one how to deal with small pieces, but I am gonna show you something I'm gonna do about the eyes, because I did cut these little mouse eyes, and I can tell you, because we gotta start with the face first, the little mouse eyes are super tiny. So what I think I'm going to do is, let's get our bunny together first. There's his little face. So here we go. There's his little face. Now, there's a story behind these two characters too, and I'll get to that next. But for the little mouse, we do have his outer eyes. And then, oh, stop sliding on me. Here are the little tiny inner eyes. Those are super tiny. I don't even think I could stitch them. I think they'll fray if I stitch them. And I didn't realize until we were cutting them on the Cricut just how tiny they are. So there are his eyes and his nose. But before I do that, I'm going to press this to the sheet just so these eyes do not slide around on me. I'm going to get my handy dandy Sharpie Ultrafine pen. And this is permanent ink. And I'm just going to draw Mr. Mouse's eyes on. This is a perfectly acceptable way when there is stuff that is too tiny to applique, is to just use a permanent pen, test it on some scrap fabric first. I'm not sure about the pen. But there we go. Now I don't have to fight with trying to get those eyes stitched down. Do hit it with the iron because it's permanent ink. And you do want to make sure that it sets. And then we're going to pop his little nose back in. And I did that first so I didn't accidentally get black ink on my pink nose. There is a method to my madness. Hard to believe, but there we go. So there's the little face. So anyway, we now have 12 blocks that go together beautifully into one quilt. It will be a block of the month quilt pattern when we're all done. We are going to combine it with the actual piecing of the quilt. So for now, temporarily, they are individual patterns on the website that you can purchase. But once we put it into the big pattern, they will no longer be available as individuals. So you may want to go get your the ones you want versus the whole pattern. So let's talk about these two little guys. So this is Elliott and this is Garnett. Elliott is named after our newest member of our family. Our cousin Sarah just had a baby on March 7th and named him Elliott with 2 T's. And I wanted to celebrate him by creating a character about him. So this is Elliott starting his grand adventures in life. In February, on February 6th, so almost exactly a month earlier, we adopted a puppy and we named her Doodles Garnett. And the mouse is named Garnett with 2 T's. Because her middle name and the name Garnett is actually an old family name, and my husband, that's his middle name, is Garnett with 2 T's. So we have Elliott with 2 T's and Garnett with 2 T's. And these two came into our life so close. Certainly cannot compare a baby to a dog, but I love them both with all my heart. And so I thought we would have Elliott and Garnett go off on their adventures. So my plan, my mad plan, is this is the 12th block for this. We are now kicking off the next 12 blocks for the next year. I'm really excited to be starting that next month. So my thought is that Elliott and Garnett will have their adventures through the year. So every block will have these two guys in it doing something. And at the end, we will have the Elliott and Garnett quilt. So leave a comment below if you think that's a good idea. That is my thought at the moment, my plan, and I'm hoping that it works. You'll have to tune in next month to see if I get my first one done like that. I have a few sketches already done, but not finalized anything. So okay, so here's the little bunny with his head and his inner ears. Now I cut this little slot here. Actually, the Cricut cut that little slot. You do not need to cut that, but if you do end up cutting it, you can just tuck this underneath. It kind of will give it some more depth to the bunny ear, because it looks like this piece is literally going over the top of that piece. And this is where the placement drawing helps, but really look at, does he look like he's leaning on the basket? Do you need to adjust him at all? Because, again, a lot of things can happen and change and shift while you're doing this. So there we go. There's our little guys. They're so cute. Alright, now we need to draw a mouth on them so I can stitch them. And then I'm going to break out my light box and a ruler to get the basket string. So I want to end we have to do embroidery here, there, and up there in the mouth. So that's now switched over to a Sakura Pigment pen, Micron pen. I like these pens because they don't bleed at all. The Sharpie sometimes can bleed on you and just kind of feather away. Not a lot, but if you have these around for whatever reason, they don't bleed as much, and I really like that. Alright, so there's his paws, his mouth, I need to do the lines on the baskets. We'll do that after it's all put together. Alright, so now, next step. Peel this guy off. First we're going to position everything. So and remember, stay 1/4 inch away from your seam allowance, because we don't want to get any of the pieces caught in the seam that we don't want in the seam, which in this case is none of them. So there's that cloud. So this actually shifts over, because this cloud goes about there. And this goes down there. And this cloud's gonna go up here somewhere. And here's our big balloon. And it goes over this cloud. Mr. Elliott's ear goes on top of it. So this is about 1 inch down. So this has to all shift. Right about there. Because actually both ears go over the balloon. This one goes out. This one goes down. Alright, I think that's it, but you know what? I don't think that's centered. That's gonna drive me wacky. Okay, we're ready to press this baby down. There we go. So this guy is ready for threads and stitching. And I pulled my threads. Finally, last month I remembered to pull my threads and not have to stop and go get them. So we're going to do this dark green on here so it contrasts a little bit. We've got our dark blue for the blue elements. I will use black and white, which I did not pull out. And then we've got pink for the accents. Raspberry, I guess I called it mauve in the pattern, but raspberry for his little coat. And then I'm going to do the mouse. Oh, I guess I need a gray. I'll have to go pull a gray. You don't really care about looking at the gray. I am going to do the mouse in a chocolate brown. And I'm going to do that because he is blends and he doesn't have sleeves like this one. So the chocolate brown will help the shapes just pop right off. So we're going to go ahead and stitch this up, and then we're going to do a flip through of all 12 blocks. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I am all done stitching, but before I unveil the final block, I thought I would go through this last year of Block Mania blocks and share the adventure with you. If you haven't been following along, all of these blocks are available on our website. Some are now paid patterns, but they are all there. The very first block, this is the one I was talking about a little bit earlier, it was summer fun. And I did a simple bucket and shovel. I wasn't really sure where we were going with the Block Mania blocks. And I just thought this would be a fun, easy one. And I actually turned this one into like a little throw pillow for summer. And this pattern, this is the only one, is on our website under extras free patterns. So it is not under the pattern page like the rest of these. Anyway, next one. So this is the first one where I really started to go, oh, maybe we could do something else with these blocks. This one is called Study Buddy, and he is like one of my favorites. This was the first time I had sat down and really sketched in a very, very long time. This was, obviously this was last August. So I was drawing this in July. We were, 4 months into the pandemic, but it's the first time in a really long time I had picked up a pencil and paper and said, let me sketch a character. And so this is what came out, and I was really, really happy with him. Then the next one was Batty and Happy. And this one honestly took me about 3 minutes to sketch it. I literally just sketched out the little bat. And my first sketch is what we went with. It was really, really funny. I went to draw a pumpkin, and when I looked at my sketch, this looked more like a little skull. And I'm like, oh, well, why not? Why not have a little skull basket versus a pumpkin basket? Let's break a little tradition. So this is sweet little Batty and Happy. The next month, the theme was family. And it also happened to coincide with Thanksgiving. So I really wanted to do a turkey. But I thought with the way things are, there's so many blended families nowadays. I wanted to kind of, echo that in this block. So this is called We Are Family. And it represents, a bunny and a turkey and a duck. So they're not even all birds. But I thought that was a really fun way to show a blended family. So there's that one. Then we get to, this was November's. This was A Present from Penny. Obviously looking ahead towards Christmas. Originally, I had her popping out of a package. And then our cousin, she's like, why not have her floating on a piece of ice? And I thought that was really cute because then I could incorporate the tree. And so that is A Present for Penny. Now, I did a ton of sketches for this little one. And stay tuned for this coming December, because I'm going to put all of them into a project that you guys will be able to sew along with me. But this is Present for Penny. Then we did Wish Upon a Star. And this was really fun because I started with wanting to do like a little character looking up and gazing at the stars and the moon, and that just didn't work. And then I was trying some other stuff, and I was like, you know what if the bear is just sitting on the star? So this is Wish Upon a Star, and he's putting his hand on the lucky star while he makes his wish. All right, next up is Puppy Love. So this one was done in January. We knew we were going to be getting a puppy at this point, and our cousin Sarah has a dog named Macaroni, which I just love his name. And so I kind of based this little guy off of Macaroni, and it is Puppy Love because he has all his heart cookies and he's just a happy camper. So that was February. Then March, we did Hello, My Name is Lucky. This one was, I wanted to do some St. Patrick's themed stuff in there, but the color palette screamed unicorn for me. So I designed a unicorn and put her in a shamrock patch and named her or him, I guess it's a he, I named him Lucky. So the block is called Hello, My Name is Lucky. Next we have Dottie's Flower Garden. Again, the theme was flower, and this was the color palette. And I actually had Dottie sketched in my sketchbook last year or year before. Like the last time I was sketching, I sketched her, and I never really did anything with her. But then when I saw the theme was flowers and the color palette kind of was like reminding me of a ladybug, I knew that it was time for her to shine, and this is called Dottie's Flower Garden. The next month, the theme was rain. And I really wanted to stay with the whole animal theme. I really wasn't sure what to do. And this one Matthew came up with. He's like, why don't you put a frog with the daisy as the umbrella? And sometimes I just need to hear the words to know the vision. And this one is I Love Rainy Days, because if you don't know, I grew up in upstate New York in Rochester, where it rains all the time. We even call it Rochester Gray. It has a name. And then I moved to Arizona, where it never rains. And I miss the rain. I really do. I can't even remember the last time we had a decent rainstorm. So this is called I Love Rainy Days, based on that. Then we've come up to graduation. And now we do have our puppy, Miss Doodles, and we've had her in a few videos. She is in the video for the Super Grad block, and that is what this is called. When I did this, she had not graduated from obedience school. She has gone through her first obedience school. I think we may need a second obedience school, but she's doing very, very well. I mean, she is a huge puppy. We love her to death. And she is a super grad in my mind. So that was that block. Then the last month was international. We could pick whatever colors we wanted. And I realized I didn't have any cats in this whole series of animals. So I took my sister's 3 cats, Duncan, Dandy, and Navarre, and I immortalized them in a quilt block. And this is called the 3 Amigos. So that was last month's block. This one is still free on the website. And then we've got our final block, and this is Wanderlust. I don't know about you, but you know, we are all vaccinated here. We are finally free to go about and wander around, and this kind of represents that for me. There's a whole nother story to this, and I already told you about where Elliott and Garnett came from, but we are now kicking off the next 12 blocks for the Block Mania Blog Hop. And I think that my blocks will all focus on these 2 characters, and we'll just, share their adventures over the next 12 months. I'm very excited to see, I'm very excited to come back here and join you in 12 months and show you all of the blocks. But I figured because it was the last in the series, you can see the scale is a little bit smaller. It is the bottom right corner of the quilt. They are off on their adventures, and it's kicking off the next adventure, which will be our next 12 blocks for Block Mania. All right, and so I hope you've enjoyed going on this adventure with us for the past 12 months. I am happy that we will all be able to quench our wanderlust a little bit here going forward. And I hope you've enjoyed watching me make the Wanderlust block. And I want to thank you for watching these past 12 months. And here's to another great 12 months of blocks. So thanks for watching.